Agency in Motion continuing education series. This is an education series, an ongoing series for producers, agents, and agency builders in the financial services industry. This is brought to you by Millionaire Mindset Life. What we're going to be talking about today is there is always going to be a gap between the strategy, what you anticipate that's going to happen for your business, and the execution, what you're actually doing. And like we talk about, that gap is a whole lot of revenue, a whole lot of income, a lot of partner and client growth, depending on what you're trying to do with your business. So we want to close that gap today between strategy and execution. And we want to realize as much of that revenue, income, and business growth as we possibly can. So your business execution, plan, build, and run. That's all you've really got to take care of. And we also talk about, there's some parts of the business that can be automated, some parts of the business that cannot be automated. What you want to do is you want to concentrate on getting as much automation and efficiency in your business. And then what you need to handle on the manual side, you need to attack day in and day out. The execution is what's going to make it happen. The lack of execution is what's going to make you look at your calendar with a bunch of white space, start to feel this can't happen, start to feel the financial constraints of not making money. So we've got to execute to make sure that those extraneous forces on the outside don't start to put too much pressure on us, where we start to really change our mindset and drift, eventually give up and quit. You have to have a blueprint for success, and your blueprint for success should be something that can easily be passed down if you're an agency builder to the partners coming in. Remember, if you're trailblazing a path, if you're setting this up, the people that come in after you, they should have a better generational opportunity as it goes forward. And that helps you build distribution in a systematic way that no matter, where your offices are, no matter how many generations deep it is, everybody is doing the same thing. Part of your execution really starts from the top. And we talk about this continuously. We say you can't be everything to everybody. You have to have a persona in terms of a profile of a partner that you're seeking out or a client that you're seeking out. And then you need to go out in the marketplace every single day, search for that persona, search for that profile, have messages that are going to resonate with that particular type of person, getting them to raise their hand and say, yes, I want to talk to you. I want more information. If you're out there just having random conversations with random people, you're going to get random results. And those really aren't going to do much for your business or your build out of your business. The personal plan. This is very, very easy when you kind of understand what it takes to get the business built. Your personal plan, and we've talked about this many times before, 12 to 15 appointments per week. That will bring so much velocity to your business if it's done in the correct way. And remember, an appointment is someone with a reason to do something, whether you're talking to a potential partner, a potential client. 12 to 15 appointments per week. And the quality of the appointments goes right back to what we were just talking about in the persona. If you're lining up your calendar with the persona that you're seeking out, these are going to have some quality appointments and some quality outcomes versus just throwing a bunch of stuff on the calendar and see what happens. You need some type of infrastructure that will help you handle this process. And as an advisor, agent, producer, agency builder, whatever it is that you classify yourself as, you need some type of an appointment funnel. You need a way to attract people in, create leads, and then a system of automation and manual help to push those leads down to outcomes. And those outcomes are going to be various, negative, positive. So you want to make sure that, inside what you're doing, you have the infrastructure. And you need to understand what you need to do to help that infrastructure, maximize and extract the most value that you possibly can. Because at the top of the funnel is awareness and education. That's what you have to concentrate on. You have to attract people into the fold by helping them understand, we're the right people to talk to, getting out value-based propositions, awareness, education. That's going to create interest, consideration, decision, and action. However, there can never be decision and action if there's no awareness and education. The top of your funnel is going to create leads, keep you busy. If there's little to nothing coming in at the top of the funnel, you can expect little to nothing, obviously, to come out at the bottom of the funnel. You have to front load the business, and you have to get in a mindset of understanding and putting yourself in your potential partner or your potential client's shoes and understand what would they want. How do I create that experience, that client experience that's going to, Do what we're talking about here, which is front load the business, increase the traffic to the landing pages, to the site, and create productive online meetings where you get in, or if you're passing this off to somebody else, they get in and really further educate the clients to potential buying decisions. It's real easy, you guys. You have a stranger that goes to a landing page or a website. You've got to have something that's going to take that website visitor and convince them to give you their contact information for something, whether that's guides, whether that's free material, education, whatever it is, and that creates a lead. Well, now you've taken a stranger and you've created a lead. What is a lead? Well, leads ask for something. Now you've got somebody to talk to and you've got a reason to talk to them. So understanding that top of the funnel, understanding how to front load your business is a really, really important key piece of this, because without enough traffic, there's not enough outcomes. And then once you start to create leads and understand how to create leads, you're going to have to make sure that you close that gap between strategy and execution with a solid follow-up strategy. If you're creating a lot of leads and you never follow up, it's just as bad as really not creating any leads at all, because you have to have a systematic approach to create outcomes. That means following up in a number of different ways. If I'm missing out on one of the follow-up strategies, I might not be reaching that person in their preferred method of communication to receive messages and respond back, whether that's phone, whether that's text, whether that's email, whether that's social media message. You want to hit all points of your follow-up strategy and then teach, if you're building agencies, your partners how to do the same. Inside the follow-up, you have to understand little things matter, and little things can create big differences for your book of business or your agency. Subject lines matter. If you create the best email that anybody's ever seen, but your subject line sucks, nobody's ever going to open it. They're never going to see that material. So understand you have like macro and micro points of your business. You have to address both sides, and things like small things like subject lines and emails, they definitely matter. Also, closing that gap between strategy and execution is boring. It's not, everything's not supposed to be, everyday excitement for you. Boring makes you money. And once you understand that, it's a lot easier to create the daily activity, the follow-up, being methodical in your approach, because at the end of the day, especially getting your business off the ground, contact business is your number one priority. Learning how to talk to people, learning how to open up conversations. And then once you do that, once you know how to create leads, follow up to create various outcomes, including the next steps in your pipeline. You've got to take enough swings. And, no matter what you're trying to do in life, you have to practice. If you're a professional athlete, it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. You've got to get out there and you've got to get enough repetition. The repetition is going to create the ability for you to be confident in going into these situations. And no matter who I'm talking to at what time about the subject matter, I know that I can, open up, continue, control, and direct communication and conversation based on helping the other side understand how to get what they want. Consistency is going to make or break your business. You can't start and stop, because that's zero consistency, and that's really not going to build a business. So whether you're putting in 2 hours a day or 10 hours a day, be consistent in your approach, because that consistency is going to build a pattern over time that allows you to start building your business. Once you understand what it takes to build a business, how to frontline, how to create leads, how to follow up, how to create outcomes, then it's very easy to understand how to, build the business, scale the business, whatever it is that you're trying to do, by understanding, hey, if I multiply my efforts on the front side at A, B, or C, it multiplies the results on the back side with X, Y, Z. So once you understand that you can make data-driven decisions, understand the numbers of your business, it's a lot easier to build and scale the business. You're going to have roadblocks in kind of understanding and executing, closing that gap. And once you understand some of the typical roadblocks, you can preemptively overcome those. And it makes a big difference if you can do that for your business and teach other people coming into your business how to do that as well. One of the roadblocks is you're always going to have problems. As an entrepreneur, a lot of what you do is just fix problems, solve problems. So what you have to understand is, if something's wrong, if you have a problem, do not just continue to dwell on the problem. Just fix the problem, dwell on the solution, and not the problem. And that comes from exactly what we're trying to teach, our clients, how we're trying to teach our partners. We also have to actively pursue and grow that growth mindset. It's not something that you just have. It's something that you continually work on. It's a skill set. So the growth mindset will help you understand how to build a book, how to communicate with clients, partners, how to build agencies, and how to teach other people to get what they want. If you teach a bunch of people how to get what they want, you're going to get what you want in return. So you have to know your why. You've got to have a vision. You got to actually write your goals down. Writing your goals down, it may seem like a small, insignificant thing to you. It's huge. Being able to have your goals written out, being able to look at those, and the laws of attraction work. The things that you think about are going to come into your life. And then finally, one of the biggest mistakes people make, they just don't stay accountable to themselves, to other people. Accountability is the way to measure, hey, I'm moving, I'm getting progress, or I'm having a lack of progress. And that will help us understand what's working and what's not working and how to fix it. You got to visualize your future. Closing that gap between strategy and execution requires a motivating factor. That's what you want. You got to visualize it. Write your goals down, understand what you're trying to accomplish, and put yourself there, at that moment. What does it feel like? Who are you with? What are you doing? Because the motivation is a big part of being able to do this. Also, the dreams are free. The hustle is sold separately. So you can dream as big as you want. And what I've seen is that creating, minimum little goals, they invite excuses not to, meet those goals. When your goals are big enough, when you have a lot of people involved and you got big plans, those lies and excuses that we typically feed ourselves from a fixed mindset, they're really no longer an option. So have big goals. If you have huge goals and you meet 70% of that goal, you'll probably accomplish way more than you ever could if you minimize and created those little goals. Once you have goals, you have to realize what it takes to get to the goals. Remember, that gap between strategy and execution is where a lot of your money and your business growth comes from. So if you have a goal, 6, 9, 12 plus months down the road, understand what you do in the next hour, today, this week, this month, has a direct impact, either positive or negative impact on the ability to reach that goal. Another thing you want to do is understand, if you're trying to make X amount per year, it's not just some random number out there. You need to reverse engineer. How am I going to get to that? How is my business run? How do I recognize revenue? What are the multiple points of monetization in my business model? And then break it down. If I want to make X, what do I need to do every single day, every week, every direct deposit, pay period, whatever it is, break it down. That gives you stepping stones and it gives you a path to get to that income goal. And you also have to understand that your business, once you understand the numbers of your business, it's a lot easier to understand how to do things in different parts of your business to create huge positive ripple effects. Look at this. In this example, a 10% lift in conversion equals an 800% increase in sales. We can never understand this if we're just out there, randomly doing business, not understanding our business, not understanding our numbers. Once we understand our business from a numbers and a data perspective, it's a lot easier to understand how to fix problems and how to accelerate growth. Your income producing activities every single day. So you have your automation, you have your online infrastructure, whatever it is that you're working with, you can be busy every single day and go totally broke. So you have to understand and tier your activity on what's most important. The bottom tier activity, if you don't get that stuff done on any given day, it's okay. If you get the top tier activity completed, which is income producing activities. If you reverse that and put the income producing activities as lower tier, your calendar will turn real white and your bank account will turn real low. So you have to understand the things that you probably don't want to do for your business are the most important things that you should be doing every day. And then be defined in your approach. If you're going to do this, understand what you're doing, how you're doing it, and then go out and make sure that you're executing every single day and stick to the plan. Jack of all trades, master of nothing. If you try to catch two rabbits, you're not going to catch any. There's a bunch of cliche statements out there, but they're all really correct, because if you're trying to do a bunch of stuff, you're not going to be good at really any of those things. You got to be focused, you got to be dialed in, and you got to attack to get what you want. Once you decide that you're going to make this happen, then once you have a plan of action, you have infrastructure, you have lead generation, you have follow-up, you're tiering your activity, just go all in. There's no limits, because what we do, the financial industry, how money works, financial literacy, financial well-being, all of these buzzwords are very, very, very important right now. You're in a good place at a good time to help a lot of people, and doing so can make you a lot of money. You also need to understand, if you're trying to bridge that or close that gap between strategy and execution, that success in your business comes from understanding leverage and learning how to use that from the leadership that you have surrounding you, your clients, your partners, and other professionals that you're working with, your products, your providers, your technology, your social media, and your tools. Once you understand, kind of the tools of the trade, what you have to work with, both human and non-human, that success comes from understanding it and learning how to use and leverage it. And also, one of the things that you can do, not to get, in kind of like a mundane state where you're just repeating the same things every day, almost like a robot. What you want to do is you want to bring energy, intensity to what you're trying to do, especially the income producing activities. So just break things down. Just like your cash flow, you want to break it down to understand how you get to that number. You want to turn everyday routine activities into games. Break the day up into smaller units to avoid that burnout that so many people find themselves in. And then also understand that, if you're dialed into a persona, if you're pulling that persona in, that the front end of this is just a process of disqualifying the wrong people and qualifying the right people. That's basically probability. So if you're disqualifying, if you have a 45-minute meeting scheduled and you get on, you're able to disqualify the person in 2 or 3 minutes, you're doing a disservice to them as well as yourself to continue on that meeting if you can't help them. Save your time, respect other people's time, and be honest with them. If you disqualify at 2 minutes versus disqualify at 45 minutes, it's the same disqualification. Save your time for people that are actually qualified so you can help them understand how to get where they want, why you're the right person to speak to, and how you're going to get there. You also need a schedule. So if you're starting your business and you're looking at your calendar and there's a bunch of white space, create things for yourself to do. Now, eventually you'll have a bunch of appointments with clients and partners and you'll be real busy, but you have to make sure that you have a schedule. Stick to it. People that schedule their time get much more done during the day, obviously, than people that don't schedule their time. One of the most important things that you can do to help bridge that or close that gap between strategy and execution is learn how to time block. Very successful people time block down to 5-10 minute intervals. I'm not saying do that, but understand what you're trying to accomplish in the day and at what times you're trying to accomplish that. And once again, tier your activities so those income producing activities are at the meat or the most active parts of the day for other people. There is a prior video that has time blocking 101 guides. You guys can access that, but time blocking will greatly help you, and it'll greatly help your ability to manage and build agencies as well. And then also understand that during the day you've got different stuff. You've got the specific stuff on your calendar. You've got your CRM and your automation, your online infrastructure. You've got an outside to-do list. So understand what needs to be done and what's most important. What can be done, at a later time, off business hours, during the weekend, whatever it might be, and then create a business plan for yourself based around these activities that need to get done. We mentioned this earlier. At the root of it all, you're just in a contact business. And if you don't like contacting people, if you don't like marketing, you don't like networking, or you can't pick up that skill set, it's going to be extremely hard for you to build a business like this, because talking to people will allow that conversation to start. And remember, inside a conversation, you're asking the right questions, you're getting the information from them that uncovers a problem they have. Now you can introduce solutions and action steps. And that all comes from understanding that you don't have to go out there and overpower the conversation. You just need to learn how to start talking to people, asking questions, not selling them anything, but interviewing. Interviewing will get general interest, and it'll allow you, like I said, to uncover something that you can provide a solution and an action step for. It's a lot easier to, network and interview than market and sell. You also need to have in place something that happens. So as you have a client coming in and you have that sale that's closed, what happens after that? Do you never talk to them again? What is it that happens after you make the sale with the client? And then also, what happens after you make a new hire? Remember, partner recruitment doesn't stop when they come in. It's actually about a 90-day process after they come in to make sure they're set up and make sure they're happy, they're ready to work, they understand what they need to do. You need to contact your team. If you are building agencies, especially in this virtual online world, we're not meeting every day. We're not in a physical location. You need to contact your team. You don't want to build a team of a bunch of people that feel like they're on a desert island. Contact your team and then start to work with people that not necessarily need your time, but those people that are actually making it happen and deserve your time. At the end of the day, guys, it's discipline, discipline, discipline. Give things enough time for data. Remember, like we tell our clients, don't make impulsive, emotional money moves. Same thing with your book of business or your agency. Don't make emotional or impulsive moves. Make data-driven decisions. If you need to change things, don't throw everything at the wall at one time. Change one thing, see what happens. And especially in the beginning stages, there's no such things as it didn't work. I only learned, I only got feedback. And the final thing I'll leave you guys with for today's lesson is if you're going to close the gap between strategy and execution, one of those things is you have to actually make a pledge to yourself that you're going to make this happen, that you're going to do the necessary things day in, day out to get to a point where your efforts have compounded and you are to a point where you're starting to create multiple points of monetization. You have client growth, you have partner growth. And if that's what you're working on, you move into the distribution stage. Agency in Motion is a continuing education series for producers, agents, or agency builders to build, operate, and manage agencies, in this new environment.